Well, hello and welcome to Yellow Flag FPL, the podcast where all of our opinions should be yellow flagged. My name is Harry.
And I'm Stephen Berry.
And on this week's pod, we did miss last week's, I think, due to some technical difficulties on my side and various other things and traveling around. But it's the game week's coming thick and fast. So we're recording this just after Ruben Amorim has lost his job, which was thankfully very timely. So we didn't have to rant about Man United too much. But before we go into some of those games, Stephen, yeah, why don't you tell it? How's your game week been?
Yeah, it was fine. I got 51 points, but what could have been? I was one of the people who didn't sell Thiago. Dude, that's the good news. The bad news is I had him on my bench, third on my bench as well. I really, really didn't want those 17 points. I could have played him over any of my 1 point defenders. I had Tior, so I had one of the other ties, but not both of them, unfortunately, in the end. Well, I had both of them, but didn't play both of them. So not ideal, but nevertheless, 51 points when the average is 42. It's a green arrow. I'll accept it. It's not too bad. How about you? How'd you go on?
It's another poor week for me. 39 points.
Oh,
Yeah, Ekatike not playing out of the blue. That was annoying. It started off well with Gabriel getting me the 9 points. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Rogers with five as well with the assists. Semenyo not getting anything, fine. Saka coming off the bench and getting an assist. I thought, yeah, great, but not a single double digits in any of the team. Spurs scoring, obviously, I celebrated. Then I realised I had double Sunderland defence,
hmm.
and Dorgu just, ever since I brought him in, has been allergic to the goal. So yeah, it's not been great, to say the least. And I'm sort of tumbling down the ranks. I'm hopeful not to be outside of the top million, but yeah, just not sure really what to do with the team so far. Hopefully, this podcast will give me some ideas. I don't know. Unlikely, Stevens. But so yeah, let's crack on with some of the games. And yeah, which one do you want to kick off with?
Well, I think well, there's probably two results of the weekend. One is Everton Fulham, and but the other one I'd like to discuss in more detail is obviously Wolves Fulham. Wolves have double, not Wolves, sorry, Wolves West Ham, sorry. Wolves have doubled their points tally for the season to a mighty
Yeah,
six. If they were at one point the best team of 2026, so you got to give them credit where it's due. What I want to talk about though, the scoreline, believe it or not, I actually think flattered West Ham. I actually watched a good
yeah.
chunk of the game on repeat. And West Ham was so bad. Like
Mm,
within the first minute, is it Mavropanos, their centre back? Huang
mm,
had him on toast. And we're talking about Huang here, who's a decent player, but like West Ham had
yeah,
no running. About a few minutes later, after I think it was after they just conceded that goal, which again, far too easy for Huang to get the ball in and Ari has to run in. The fullback, one of the Buenos, ran completely unopposed from the centre back all the way to basically the went box to box with all of Molineux around him.
mm,
This honestly, you look at the XG and stuff like that and go, well, it can't have been that bad. It was really, really bad. You ask any West
yeah.
Ham fan who saw that, this is really, really unacceptable. XG on target of zero, i.e., they didn't have a shot on target, even though they had an XG of
Yeah.
0.2. Like,
Yeah, Bowen had the best chance, and it was an overhead kick in sort of 70th minute, I think. And it went over the bar, and it would have been an amazing attempt, even if he got it on target, to be honest. But yeah, zero shots on target. Um, yeah, I heard one fan on Talksport said we should just get rid of Nuno tonight, bring in Carrick, and prepare for the championship. And I think that sums up where West Ham are. You could see some of their players were just not. They're not putting tackles in, not doing
yeah.
basic stuff. So I don't want to sound like Roy Keane, but do your job. Like they just weren't doing any of it. So yeah, I think they probably have sealed their fate. It means that the West Ham Forest game,
Mm.
huge game this week. Obviously, Forest are not on a great run either. But I think Forest to be the more confident of the two. No, that'll be
They were pretty. Who did they? Yeah, they lost 3-1 to Villa, and they're
yeah,
very.
bit of a good team. Bit of a good
Villa
team.
are a good team, but it was also
Wolves are not a good
pretty.
team. You shouldn't lose 3-0 to Wolves. No one should
That's
lose to 3-0 to Wolves.
no, yes. Comparing Villa and Wolves is obviously a fool's errand, but again, Nottingham Forest didn't do much in that game. I know Dyche started well, but they've
Mm.
they've really hit the buffers. I think the advantage, ironically, as we said so many times, is that it's at West Ham. The advantage for Forest If they don't, West Ham do not have home team advantage. They were so
No.
bad in that game.
Yeah.
Um, I think Dyche can go there. He doesn't need to win. He only needs a point.
No.
He can put men behind the
Exactly.
ball.
Hmm.
So what look hard avoid of any West Ham. I said it about Bowen. I know he got DEFCONs in that game,
Yeah.
which says a
Crazy.
lot.
First forward to do it, and he keeps doing it, doesn't he? It shows where they are.
Yeah, I know he got DEFCONs, but sorry, if you're having a 7 million forward for DEFCONs, there's something a bit awry there. I know he got his goal again, but like no. So I know their run is very easy. They then obviously annoyingly go to Dr. Tottenham next, which obviously means they could win that game, which is very
Yeah.
irritating. So but no, I think
Yeah.
hard avoid of any West Ham players from an FPL perspective. If you've got Bowen, get rid.
Yeah.
He's quite expensive. His run is he just can't keep going. Like he can't keep. He had nothing to work on that. He said it was just a bicycle kick. I don't think anyone had
Yeah.
any of the West Ham players from Wolves. The 4.5 million new Mane has
The
become
new Mane, yeah.
very attractive to people. I think that's very much a trap. Wolves are still Wolves. And they are not going to play West Ham every week, and not just West Ham, a team that just didn't do anything. I've
Tim has given
never,
up,
like,
I think.
honestly, yeah, that was so bad.
Yeah. I mean, Mane did catch my eye. I mean, he obviously got 12 points in this game, 0.4% owned, 4.5 million starting forward. Um, I mean, are you not tempted even for Binges on your bench?
Yeah, 4.5 million forward who starts. That's fine. I suppose that's fine. Um, but yeah, and actually, I guess the other argument would be is that we are once again in an era where we need your premiums again. If you need your early, if you want a
Yeah.
Watkins, a Haaland, a Palmer, a Saka, Bruno Fernandes when he comes back, yeah,
Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does look to have secured his place. He's played 90 minutes, but he got subbed off in the 5 minutes for the other game in the last three
Yeah.
games, including away at Liverpool and Man U. So he's obviously a key man for the team. But let's just remind ourselves, he got 12
It
points
is
against West
Wolves.
Ham, and he got 2 points when he played Man U and Liverpool. So fine, if you do, yeah, he becomes an option for that reason and that reason only. But yeah,
Yes, I think he'd probably be on your bench the entire time, so you would lose any points you'd gain from having him in the first place because you never start him. If you did that,
yeah,
you'd have a very good midfield. So I think it's probably a no, but it's interesting nonetheless that he is picking up a bit of attention.
yeah. But surely there'll be somebody who's like lost money. Yeah, you can get Barnes at Burnley for 4.2 million. Like, if you need the money, why not? I don't see. I know he plays every week, but I don't think 300 grand gets you anything. All it will get you
Yeah,
is that you'll have him one day where he gets another goal. You'll be like, oh, if only I started him. And it's just like you're never
you were never
like
going to.
you're
Yeah,
never
yeah,
going to. So I think he's a bit of a frustration trap, shall we say?
sure,
Yeah, there's cheaper options if you just need bin juice. He would not. But anyway, good
cool.
for him. I mean, look, who have Wolves got next? Look, they obviously have been getting better. They played well against Arsenal. A bit unfortunate to lose that game. I did sort of think they weren't that bad. They go to Everton next. Newcastle at home, are terrible away. Keep an eye on them.
Yeah, I think the West Ham fixture is kind of warping our minds a little bit. Wolves are still shit. Wolves are
Yeah.
still a championship team. They're still talking about selling half of their very good players in January to sort of give up for the championship anyway. So yeah, let's move on and just say don't buy any Wolves players, but we like the
And
idea of
sell
this new
Bowen.
Mane and sell
Sell
Bowen for
Bowen.
sure.
Sell Bowen.
For sure. Okay, cool. Well, let's talk about another team that, well, you mentioned them already, United against
Hmm.
Leeds. So I watched this on the way back from France in the car, and it was an interesting game in a lot of ways because the first half was, to be honest, a bit shit. But it was,
Yeah.
I think, it was mainly because it was really cagey. No team wanted to lose. Obviously, it's a derby, big game. Sir Alex was there. Alfie Haaland was there as well. So some big names in the crowd and things like that. We wondered if he did a double header and went off to Man City afterwards to watch his boy play. Um, but yeah, some interesting things in this game. United had the greatest chances. Cunha had the ball in the back of the net very early doors, but the offside was given for Sesko, who was interfering kind of. But I wasn't
Hmm.
sure really how that worked out. But then he obviously got the goal when Xerxes came off the bench. Don't be tempted by Xerxes. I know he scored and he got an assist now. The goal he scored against Wolves was a deflected rubbish goal. And this game he did create a few chances, but I think he's being buttered up to be sold. But with a new
Yeah.
manager coming in, who knows, right? Um, Cunha was interesting in this game. He is too expensive though. I think 8.2 million.
Yep.
You need him to be doing. I mean, the direct comparison would be like Wirtz, who scored this week, and obviously he's looking a bit more attractive, looking like he's getting more chances and things like that. Um, but Leeds that's really comfortable. DCL could have hauled in this game. Like I'm really not put
Mm.
off by the fact he didn't return. I think he got a few more, quite a few chances. But I was wondering, Stephen, at what point does DCL become too expensive to buy? Because I think 6 million is that threshold, and obviously we're fast
Mm.
approaching that. If he goes to 6.2, 6.3, I think that's too expensive.
I don't know if it's a price thing for him. I think it's more of a competition thing.
Mm,
So I'm sort of jumping the gun a little bit here. My front three is Watkins, Thiago, and Haaland. It's going to need to be a pretty generous fixture swing for me to go, I want DCL over those three.
sure.
Um, I think that's more the problem, I would say. I actually think I think given that, okay, there's Thiago is again is 7 million, Watkins is 8. I actually don't think I think forwards you've got to adjust the pricing a little bit. Bowen's like 7 point whatever he is. Ekatike is 9. I actually think Calvert-Lewin probably could go to around 6.57 million, and I think I'd
Mm,
still be interested in him. I think, Richarlison, for example, at 6.4, he's still quite interesting, even though he plays in a poor Spurs team. But a bit
mm.
like DCL, he's getting there, he's getting chances, he's gonna get do something at some point. So I wouldn't be too disturbed by his price. It's more the competition, I would say.
Mm.
I can't see why I'd go for him over Watkins, Thiago, and Haaland, right? If anything, the one that's most in the risk of the team is obviously Erling Haaland. The robot is blinking a little bit. But if you were the man to sell Haaland for DCL, you are a brave and FBL player than me. But I do admire those who are considering that move and applaud them all the way.
I would encourage them, of course, as well. Uh, we love encouraging bad decisions. And then what about Dorgu as well? Because Dorgu, obviously, you encouraged me to buy him. Since then, he's done fuck all. He did get a disallowed goal against Wolves in the game before. I was unlucky and had a few good shots. But to be honest, the player that caught my eyes the most in the Man United team, parking Cunha, although I did put Sesko in one of my rogue shouts, I think he played well, but we'll move on from that, is
Hmm.
Heaven. Um,
They're really
I
bad for the
think
goal, though.
he was bad for the goal, but I think he really passes the eye test. I think he's a really, really good player. 3.8 million or 3.9 million now, more people buying him. He's really cheap. Could you be tempted if you didn't have
He
Dorgu?
got he got DEFCONs, didn't he? No, look,
Yeah,
the reason why I have Dorgu is yeah, again, he's a defender playing up top. He's two
he is.
million
Yeah,
or
that's true. Yeah,
whatever he is. Um, but he's only in the team because of AFCON. Now Fletcher's come in. We don't know. I think Darren Fletcher's been appointed. One thing we can probably say is that he's going to be playing the youth players again, i.e. Kobe Mine, he's going to come back into the team,
yeah,
probably.
true.
But that does mean Dorgu's up in the air. He was very much a square peg and a round hole under the Amarim system. So he might not get his place back. He's only in the team anyway because of AFCON. So
Mm.
look, he's got Burnley next. There's a I don't know, 50% chance, maybe a bit higher, that he'll play as an attacking midfielder against Burnley. I'm not selling a player for an attacking midfielder who's playing Burnley. That's just madness.
True.
But he was always only ever a stopgap. I think we're a bit unfortunate he has only had the disallowed goal. I got the 17 points. Other people unfortunately missed that boat.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think hold him for this game, but then switch him to any lead defender you like. I just had a look. Goodmanson is 3.8 million. It sounds
Had a
like
good shot in the first half as well. Goodmanson nearly
he's
scored.
very attacking. He's very, very
Mm.
attacking. I think Rondon's going to be out for quite a while, as far as I
Yeah, I
understand.
said that the Adingra challenge in that Sunderland game was nasty. It was a nasty
Mm,
challenge, and he looks like he's going to be out to the 17th at least. But I think as soon
yeah.
as he's fit, he's back in.
He absolutely is, but this lad I've never heard of, Bornau, he's
Yeah,
3.8 million as well. I mean, Gudmundsson's the same price. You would definitely go for Gudmundsson. One, he's more
I would
nailed.
say yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's more nailed to start. But again, if you really do need another option, he is there for you. He
The other
actually
one
looked
was
all right. I think.
the other one was Ampadu, who seems to be a DEFCON magnet. Like he gets 15 to 20 DEFCONs on
Hmm.
average. Like he's mental, but I don't know if he's 4.5, so therefore probably a bit less appealing.
Yeah, Justin also played as well. Justin, I think we all remember when he was at Leicester, was a
Got some
very,
thoughts
very
on
good
James
player.
Justin.
Oh, do you? Oh, dear. I'll save them for later then. So
Yeah.
James Justin, he got 10 DEFCONs in that game as well, which is quite interesting.
Mm.
Strike is obviously going to play every week. Strike also used to take their penalties. Don't know, I don't think he does anymore for DCL, but
No.
you know, if DCL, he gets last minute penalty, there's a chance he might do them. But it's probably unlikely. I wouldn't bring him in for that, put it that way. But Goodman's at a 3.8 million for Dorgu. Seems like a very easy switch to do. Goodman's got to be the best cheap
Hmm.
option now in defenders. I can't think of anybody else
Hmm.
around the below, as in like below 4.5.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
yeah.
let's have another quick look now. Oh, so the Sunderland defenders, of course. So you got Mukier and Alderete at Sunderland. They're obviously very good options as well. But I still prefer Goodmanson. He gets forward, leads with a bit of a nicer run than Sunderland. Sunderland are a better team.
Mm.
There's also a bit of rotation in the Sunderland defense, although
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
Alderete and UK seem to have helped the places for now. But when AFCON comes back, I think there's going to be a bit of rotation. Goodmanson plays as a very attacking fullback. He passes the eye test as well. He
He
would be
does,
my
yeah.
pick for the sub 4.5 million defenders.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's definitely the route to go if you're going to come off Dogu. But then yeah, once Ahmad's back, Dogu is on the bench regardless who the manager is, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
he's yeah, I mean, he might be getting in the Danish national team, but I don't think he's Man United quality, unfortunately. But let's I mean, obviously, Man United had a XG of 1.58 in this game. They really
Yeah.
had a lot of chances. I think that Amarin's got slight football comment. I think Amarin got fired not for the performances because I think the performances were okay. I mean, the Wolves game we look at and we go, well, that's just awful. But bad days can happen. But they were fifth. They're fifth in the league, right? United have been nowhere near that for quite a few seasons now. I think it was more his comments. So I think that United is still a team you can invest in with FPL. I think it's a wait and see for the managers, or who the manager's going to come in, what the style is, whether they're going to buy players, all that sort of stuff. I think the key thing for me is if I was owning an expensive Man United player like a
Yeah.
Cunha or for some reason Sesko, I probably would sell now and wait until AFCON's finished to see basically how the dust settles. Because of course Bruno will come back as well.
Mm.
Does Bruno fit into a different system now with Mainu? There's loads of questions there. So I think the uncertainty would cause me to sell an expensive Man United asset.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk too much about Amrin because there's now going to be 10 million hours of content produced about Amrin at
Probably.
Manchester United and God knows how many
Yeah.
long reads and everything else. Let's not add to that short, well covered pile
Yeah.
that is coming our way. FPL, yeah, I haven't liked Man U players for a while because of their price. As you said,
Hmm.
Kun is too expensive. Dorgu is cheap and he's playing up front, so that was a bit of a rogue one. But yeah, I don't think there ever was a time to invest in Man U players. Annoyingly,
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes is a very good player and he always has been. I don't like him being, but he ended up justifying his price just. Maybe he'll be a 10 again. If he becomes a 10 again, because I think he's back soon, right? Might even be back next game week, maybe the game week
Yeah,
after.
yeah, yeah. Probably the 17th, I would have thought.
He's one to keep under review, but I'm pretty sure that Man U's fixtures swing pretty badly though. So they have Burnley away, and then they have City, Arsenal. It's not too bad actually. It's got Fulham, West Ham, Spurs, Everton away. It's not ideal,
Mm.
but definitely not one of the best ones fixture wise after the Burnley game.
Hmm.
And you also got to remember Fletcher's actually coming in a bit of a bad time.
Yeah,
Because
true.
Man City Man City in particular are going to need something. It's at Old
Yeah.
Trafford. And Pep really is going to need something, and the players do as
He's going to need
well.
to batter them, isn't he, really? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
and and they will do that. They both them and Liverpool, no matter what, love
Well, I
doing
don't know. Man United have got a pretty good record there, even in the good times. But
yeah,
anyway, I think we should probably move on because you've got a train to catch,
I do.
to come back down from the Great North, and you can give us a report. So why don't you, given you mentioned them already, Arsenal, why don't you tell us, is this the week that we'll look back and go, Arsenal have won the league because of the last couple of game weeks?
But first of all, I thought you were teeing up a very nice. You're coming back from the great northeast to London. I thought it was a very nice Spurs Sunderland setup there, but not to be, unfortunately. Arsenal. So look, fair play to rival football fans. You have been dangling this carrot of like, oh, you've bottled the league and all this. Oh, and we have bitten. We bit very, very hard, and it's fair enough. You wanted to derail Arsenal's title challenge, and you have every right to do that. And we have gleefully taken the chump. However, I think what's really important here is just to sort of, I don't know how much the Arsenal players believe it maybe, but just reset here. Arsenal are a very good team, but they're not the best team that the league has ever seen. They are going to make
Mm.
mistakes. And this also is a very, very weird league. You mentioned Man U are fifth or whatever they are, but they're also 4 points off 15th or something. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
It's
what
crazy. Yeah,
Everton were fifth the other week, Brentford and that. Yeah, the swings are really, really big
everyone's
apart
beating
from
everyone. I
yeah.
think it's fair to say.
So I think there's a few combinate things in there. Even Man City, Chelsea, like Chelsea, we were pretty. Chelsea have had their issues this season, but in the second half they were pretty comfortable. Man City was sort of asking to concede. Arsenal in the Bournemouth game though, okay, 3-2. You're like, oh, they're hanging on. They hung on against Brighton, but in that game, Gabriel makes a very un-Gabriel mistake. That's not going to happen every week. Krupi scores an absolute ridiculous.
Weldy, yeah,
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 well, the second best goal of the week. It was the best goal until Reed at Fulham decides to do
yeah.
that. Unbelievable. Um, so what does this mean? Like, in other words, Arsenal aren't going to, and Bournemouth are very good at home. Interestingly, they've got this. They were saying on the commentary one of the best home records this season. So Arsenal going there and winning is actually more of a statement than
Mm.
it means.
Yeah, agreed.
From FPL perspective, I'm finally giving up on Gokares. I mean, he was very important for the second goal, but as you saw, like he
Mm.
grabbed the ball, he made the magnet, made it stay up there, but then doesn't get any returns for it, which is nothing. He's actually playing quite well, but
Yeah.
FPL doesn't reward performances, it rewards goals and assists and clean sheets famously, and now DEFCON. Um, Saka, when he came on, immediately gets an assist. Declan
Yeah.
Rice with another big haul.
Yeah.
I have triple Arsenal, is basically the way I'm saying it. Don't, if you're sort of worried, like, oh, they have some bad results, they might put all this, that, and the other. Arsenal are by the end going to actually be relatively pretty clear. There's going to come a tipping point where Man City start to fall off, and then Arsenal won't have to worry too much. We don't have to worry too much in the Champions League and stuff like that. We've handled pretty lots of injuries. There would need to be like sort of a really mega injury crisis. Like I think we lose like 11 players or something like that for us to be derailed. But FPL, you have to triple Arsenal. You have to have an Arsenal defender. Gabriel seems like the most obvious choice, but I think there's good value in Timber as well. He's starting to get
Hmm.
defcons and stuff, and Timber will get another another haul as well. Gabriel, I
Hmm.
think that great thing has scored more than God knows how many strikers and midfielders in the
Kudus,
Premier League.
Cunha, we
Yeah,
aforementioned.
yeah.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, the one that you don't want is Saliba. Actually, Saliba's not getting many defcons. I'm watching him. He's not really doing anything offensively wrong. I don't know if defenders are avoiding him. I don't know, but he's not really. You're only sort of getting clean
Well,
sheet
I think
returns.
it's Gabriel's a bit like a bulldog, really. He just kind of gets in
Yeah,
your face, and he's the one who wants to win the ball, and I think he's probably the best centre back in maybe the world at the moment.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, you mentioned obviously the strength and depth that you have. I mean, I love watching Madueke play. I love watching.
yeah.
He's just
He's
he
excellent.
is he's not he's not rapid without end product. Like he had a moment early on in the first half where he sort of skinned Truffert, went round it, and he had a shot and baby's basically 12 yards out and ballooned it over. Another day that
Yeah,
goes in. It's a beautiful goal.
yeah.
Truffert, I think, had actually quite a good game against him, but he was
Offensively,
he
defensively.
defense defensive. No, defensively, I thought he was, broadly speaking, I mean, apart from that one occasion, he actually did manage to keep him a bit locked away. But yeah, the strength and depth you have, not starting Saka and being 2-1 up and then bringing him on, that's the difference, I think. I think
Yeah.
also Jesus coming back looks really lively, looks really good. Scored a
He's
beautiful
not gonna.
goal
He's
against
not like.
Villa. He's not going to start, but I think if Gokares got injured or if they decide to shake up a bit, I think Jesus will be pole position to do that. And Havertz as well coming back. You know, there's
No,
plenty of
I need to.
options
This is
there.
why we don't want people off. Gokares is the strike. Gokares is the starting striker. Like he just is. He's doing a lot for our win record with him is a lot better with our, and it's because he does a lot for the team. And so look at the second goal. The ball stays there because of him. We're more of a target team. Havertz is not a hold up player. Jesus is not a hold up player. Gokares is the starting striker. Does a lot for the team. That's recognized. And like obviously Arsenal fans can be a bit over defensive, but if you just watch Arsenal, do we want more from him? Yeah, could he be more lethal? He does have a little bit like there was a one where he turned around, his acceleration is quite poor. We're not saying he's perfect, but he is you would think he's had Isak season, by the way people have talked about him. Sorry, you've really triggered me here. But Gokares is the starting striker. Havertz and Jesus won't come back in. Have an Arsenal defender, Gabriel or Timber. Have Saka. I think he is worth the money. But that he came on, he's not. He had to be rotated at some point.
Sure,
This
yeah,
made sense
makes sense. Yeah,
where Bournemouth you got to remember Bournemouth press high up, right? that he knew. So this is the thing about Madueke, like he was good in a team that presses high up. Saka, the low block, that's where he comes more into play. So he is going to play more game. And then Declan Rice just keeps doing Declan Rice things. I could not have been more wrong about him as an FPL asset. He has been outstanding. He had a bloated knee and still played. So he's
Mm,
basically going to get as many minutes as possible.
yeah.
He's a must-have, isn't he, Declan Rice? I mean, I can't. There's no
I am thinking
way
about
to
doing Semenyo to Declan Rice. I think it's an obvious choice. And then I'd have the three of Rice, Saka, and Gabriel. I think that's probably the ideal three. But then Liverpool next, difficult game. Katika didn't start against Fulham, which we can talk about a bit later. But I think that's probably a resting thing. That's
go.
probably the same reason why Saka was on the bench as well. Um, but yeah, look, would you be put off getting a Declan Rice when they have Liverpool next? Because Liverpool is a difficult game, like regardless what you say.
Yeah, but then he can get DEFCONs, right?
True, 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 true.
This is the thing. He's getting points in different ways. Um, I think he really has. I mean, he probably has been a must-have since minute one, right? I don't know where he is
Yeah.
on terms of overall midfielders, but he's
I
definitely
think he
top five.
might be top now.
He might have just gone
He might
top.
be top now. Yeah, yeah. Because I
Yeah, he
think
has just gone top.
Semenyo was top before, but then he obviously got the 17 points. And also the other thing to say, this is unrelated to FPL, but Declan Rice is just a nice guy. He's a really guy not
Yeah.
to hard guy not to like. Unlike Garnacho, of course.
Yeah.
He's like
But
the anti Garnacho.
he's 13 points above Guimaraes, who somehow keeps scoring despite, fair
Yeah,
enough he's getting his DEFCONs, but he just appears and scores goals.
yeah,
Those will dry up. Declan Rice is a box to box. He's meant to be in and around the opposition box and getting things. So yeah, he's a
hmm
must have. Just quickly on Bournemouth, I still don't like any of their defenders. Semenyo's gone. The one who we spoke about 4.5 million earlier, Krupi, he's got to be playing more games. Does he take
Yeah, Evan
Semenyo's
Nilsson
spot?
is rubbish. Evan Nilsson.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's too central. I think they'll buy someone and they'll put him in that position. I was quite surprised they didn't buy Brendan Johnson, to be honest. But maybe it's just the
Yeah.
way in for the cash.
He has played Evan Nilsson and Krupi before. He's played
Yeah,
Krupi
yeah,
as
true,
a
true, true.
midfielder, but not on the wing. But yeah,
Yeah,
Krupi's got to surely have to start getting more games.
hmm
He's a really, really nice little player.
yeah,
Now,
yeah,
I would be very interested in 4.5 million because he will do stuff. You don't score a goal of that quality and be terrible. Like he's a nice little player.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, so yeah, get triple Arsenal. Rice Gabriel, I think Saka's worth it. Timber is a decent backup. Zubimendi got 18 DEFCONs in that game, I think. So he's
Yeah.
a ticker along and he gets the occasional haul.
Mm.
But yeah, that's simple, really.
Cool. Well, let's move on. We mentioned Liverpool, their next opponents against Fulham, with what seems like a mad game. Ekitike missing in action. No news about that. That really surprised me. And it's apparently just muscular. I think that's bullshit. I think they're just resting him for the Arsenal game. Harry
Mm.
Wilson comes up with the goods again. Bradley
Mm.
assist as well for Wirtz's goal, which was a bit controversial. But I was going to ask you, like obviously Frimpong's coming back from injury, and then he's kind of in and out of the team, and you've recommended him before.
Yeah, it didn't
Would you be
start.
tempted? Would you be
Yeah.
tempted by a Bradley? He's 5 million cheaper. I mean, or is it just Liverpool's defenses and a hard avoid?
Liverpool's defenses are hard to avoid. So Bradley's on 36 points. Yeah, he's fair enough. He's been injured a bit, but if you compare that to Gabriel on 106, I mean, that just
Yeah,
says it all. I said Frimpong. I was going to say on the pod that he's a minutes risk. That's why I went to my row category, and then doesn't even start. But if he started
yeah.
on the right wing, it would have been interesting. And instead went for Gakpo upset up top, and moved things around that way.
hmm
I don't. I mean, Verts is interesting. He's found his feet. Yes, he was offside for that goal, but the weird way that they do VAR meant that it was fine.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think it's him or Cunha. I think it's Wirtz or Cunha if you have that 8 million slot. But then again, you don't have to have an 8 million slot. So, I mean, I
yeah.
sold Foden this week to go down to Turkey because I just wasn't getting the value out of him and I wanted to invest money elsewhere. And I think that's pretty reasonable. Frimpong got the assist for Gakpo's winner. Maybe that means he would start a bit later as well. But yeah, Ekitike as well. Like, everyone jumped on him and then Watkins started scoring. It does seem like we're playing whack-a-mole.
Mm.
Would you make the switch now? If let's say you didn't know he was going to start against Arsenal, would you make the switch now? Would you just get it done?
I think Liverpool have a few more nice fixtures after Arsenal, don't they, from memory?
They have Burnley
Um,
afterwards.
Villa have a much nicer run. I've written it down. Villa have one of the best runs coming up. So I think it would depend on transfers and stuff like that you have available. -4. He could score against Arsenal. Um,
Easily, easily. Yeah.
You might even get defcons in that game. Arsenal are going to be very defensive in that game. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. Liverpool have got, you said they've got where are they? They've got Burnley, Bournemouth. Oh, I'd be reluctant to, and then Newcastle and at Anfield. Be reluctant to sell Ekatike
mm,
for that. I mean, it's ideally that you would want both because Watkins has Palace away, a tired Palace team. Everton, who are going to sit back, I don't think now's the time to get Ekatike. I think when Watkins then has Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton, Leeds, that's when you do the switch. So I'd say hold your
yeah.
nerve on Ekatike. At least it was 0 minutes and not 1 minute. It could have been worse. So
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think yeah, hold your nerve on Ekatike. You're never going to play him against Arsenal away anyway.
yeah. I mean, well, I mean, you will play him against Arsenal away, Ekatike, I would have thought.
Really?
But yeah, I play him, of course. Yeah, he's a high value player. I think just as a general view, I wouldn't put high value players on the bench. Um, but Liverpool had next year, excuse me, 1.37. Is obviously backs up the fact that when they played Leeds and got that 0-0 then next year too. So they are creating chances, and that's the other reason why I would keep him in there. But then of course it was all disrupted by I think probably the goal of the season. We won't say too much about it because he's definitely not an FPL asset. But yeah,
but
I mean what a goal! What a goal!
but a lovely hit, no, nevertheless. Really, really good hit.
Absolutely lovely goal. Cool. Right, well let's do banking middle row. So why don't you kick us off with yours?
And for once, these are all transfers that I've made. So there you go. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. So my banker, I know I've just sort of gone against him a little bit, is Ollie Watkins. I don't have Ekatike though. I think if you have Ekatike, hold him. If you don't, get Ollie Watkins. In Palace away, Palace are pretty tired, so his fixtures don't swing just yet, but he's going to go up in price. So I think he's a real
Yeah.
banker. Again, my middling is actually someone I've already mentioned. Goodmanson. Leeds are starting to get out of their bad run now. They've got Newcastle away next, but that's a good DEFCON opportunity for Goodmanson. But then after that, they've got Fulham, Everton, Arsenal annoyingly, but then Forest. They've got a decent run, basically. And as I said, Goodmanson really passes the eye test, and he's 3.8 million. So he's my middling shout. And then my rogue shout, again, this team have a good and a bad run coming up, and that is Everton.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
and therefore my rogue shout is obviously Jack Grealish. Now,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I just quickly on Brentford, Everton. Everton have shipped 4 goals at home twice. One, maybe more than that, but definitely ones I remember. Once to Newcastle, one to Brentford. Why those two teams? Because they believe that they can win. Where are Everton doing well? They're doing well, in games that they shouldn't be, like away from home when they sit back a bit, more Moisey ball. So I think with Everton a bit, and same with Brentford as well, you need to be a little bit careful because Thiago, when he's playing the shit teams, does nothing because
Mm,
they're not going to play very well against him. On their counter attack, fine. So it's a bit of the Fulham thing. You want to be playing Thiago when he's got good teams, and
yeah.
Everton is a little bit the same as well. That's when their players really come in. Nevertheless, I still don't believe in Wolves. I brought in Jack Grealish. He got 2 assists and just really looked good. So
Could
he's
have
my
had
rogue.
more.
Could
Could
have
have had
had,
more as
should
well.
and should have
Yeah.
had more as well.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I agree. I agree with you
so
there.
yeah, he's
Um,
he's he's obviously had a great New Year's Eve, and he's my rogue shot.
cool. Right, brilliant. Okay, so my banker is the same as last week, because I think you just need to get him in now. He's already at 6.6. It's Gabriel. He's gonna be I think I was gonna ask you, could he end up being a Trent Alexander-Arnold price of like 7.5? And I think that's very possible. If he
Next season
stays
he'll probably
fit,
be seven. Next season he'll probably become 7 million
I,
starting price.
I
Yeah,
think
probably.
so as well. I think so as well. I think just get him in, get it done. -4s are fine. Um, I think it's just a must-have really at this point. My middling is Brobby,
Yeah,
Sunderland.
fine. Yeah,
He's zero point three
great
percent
goal.
owned. He's 5.5 million. He's absolutely lashed that home. He hasn't got that many returns, but he's just lively and passes the eye test. Spurs were awful. I think it's that they have a choice now. They're talking about mass departures of players. They might sell all of these players, give the money to Frank, which I hope they don't do, or they sell all these players and give this money to someone else. My hope is we go for someone else and we go for Maresca. That's what I want. Uh, but there we go. And then my rogue shout, we've already mentioned him, James Justin.
Ah, okay.
Now he was my hero a few seasons ago. He scored a lovely goal against Fulham for Leicester and got 15 points. And that took me to the top of one of my mini leagues to eventually get my best ever finish. But yeah, he just passes the eye test. Again, he looks really good, really lively. He might be playing a bit more because they do have a few injuries at the back. And he is the riskier out of all of them. But he's 3.8 or 3.9 million. He's 0.3%, 0.2% owned, I
Yeah,
think. I think it's worth a shout. He's a very attacking wing back, very attacking fullback. And if he nails down his spot, I think he's worth it. And he also got def cons in the Man United
yeah.
game as well. So even when he doesn't get the assists or and he doesn't get the clean sheet, then it's fine.
We've both got police defenders in our shouts. What a time to be alive.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, I think that's everything for this week. Thank you for watching, listening. Please give us a like and subscribe wherever you get the podcast, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.